ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the City of Paterson Board of Adjustment special meeting this evening. My name is Margaret Vega. I am your secretary this evening. This is Thursday, January 6, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. a webinar session, virtual meeting. Notice of Chairman Thaxton, you may proceed with the meeting.
Should we stand for a pledge of allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay. Could we have the attendance, please? Roll call.
Madam Secretary,
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I need you to read the opening statement, or would you like me to do so?
So go ahead, Maggie. I don't have it.
Okay, sir. Good evening.
Chairman, Maggie,
Yes,
sorry, can you have IT call Commissioner Will? He's having trouble logging in.
I will. There.
Thank you. Sorry.
That's fine. Shut their mic off. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Paterson Board of Adjustment meeting of January 6, 2022. The notice requirement of the Open Public Meeting Law has been satisfied with respect to this meeting, specifying the time, date, and location included in the annual notice adopted at the reorganization meeting of the board, filed with the clerk of the city of Paterson, posted in City Hall, and mailed to at least 2 newspapers in accordance with the provisions of the law. I will now call the roll into the record. Chairman Thaxton? Commissioner Barat? He'll be logging in a moment, but he is now not present. Commissioner White?
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Fuhrman?
Present.
Commissioner Minauro? She is absent. Commissioner Watkins?
Present. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Commissioner Arenas?
Present.
And Commissioner Vega? Commissioner Vega is absent. Vice Chairman Rohim?
Present, Maggie, Commissioner Will having issue logging in.
I understand. I heard you, sir, but I cannot
Okay,
stop
all
the
right.
meeting. Please, let me continue and then I will handle that. Right now is to just get this meeting started, sir. Vice Chairman Rohim
Present.
and Chairman Thaxton.
Present.
Before we proceed, just give me 1 moment to deal with this. Thank you very much. Let's continue. I'll be reading the agenda into the record. Notice pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act addressing effect of coronavirus measures on the next public meeting. Consistent with the coronavirus-related restrictions of Executive Order Number 107, given on Saturday, March 21st, 2020, by Governor Philip D. Murphy, the Board of Adjustment of the City of Paterson will not conduct in-person participation of the public at all future meetings until further notice. However, public participation will be available by means of communication equipment pursuant to NJSA 10-4-8, commencing on Wednesday, April 23rd, 2020 at 7:30 p.m. Though there may be potentially be a practical need for a limited number of administrative, technical, or other city personnel to be present in or near the council chambers, third floor, City Hall, 155 Market Street in Paterson, New Jersey. In-person participation of the public is prohibited. Nevertheless, for reasons of compliance with the said executive order number 107, public participation will be available by calling 973-321-1579. Meeting ID number 711-680-001. Board of Adjustment special meeting of Thursday, January 6th, 2022 at 7:30 p.m. On the date and time that the meeting is scheduled to commence. The public may also participate in the meeting by accessing the website of the City of Paterson, www.patersonnj.gov. The application this evening will be JCM Investors 1012 LLC, 175-177 Pearl Street, Lot 4208, Lot 39. This is an application to construct a 3-story, 9-unit residential apartment with 8 one-bedrooms and 1 studio apartment with a rooftop terrace as an amenity. The existing bedrooms and 1 studio apartment, The existing multifamily building will be demolished. The applicant provides full security. There is no parking 3 feet from the property line and 1 foot is proposed. 16 parking spaces are required and 6 spaces are proposed. This is for use, bulk, site plan, and G variance in the 5th Ward, redevelopment RA-1, 1 and 2 family dwellings. Is the applicant present?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I am Michael Rubin and I represent the applicant JCM Investors 1012 LLC. Before we start the proceedings, I did note when you were taking attendance that it appeared that the board does not have a full complement of 7 members. I counted 6. I assume, Maggie, you have 6 voting members this evening, and you agree with that?
I have 6 and I will have 7 shortly. I'm still trying to get IT to connect one of our commissioners.
Well, if we don't have, assuming we have 6, I would like to start the proceedings, but when it comes to a vote, I would like to have 7 voting members, but I would like to go as far as we can go this evening. But if we don't have 7, I would really do not want to have a vote of the board without a full board being present.
Mr. Rubin, so if I understand, you would want to proceed, then you order a transcript for a 7th member, and we'll come back for a vote at another time.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, we've been waiting a number of months to get this agenda date, and I don't want to lose it.
No, I understand.
I'm going.
I fully
You
understand.
know, I want to keep moving. Can't be still in this environment. We got to keep on going. So yes. So but we are ready. I have Mr. Evans waiting. I'm in fact at his office, and we will hear his testimony this evening. And we have our professional planner, who I see is on the call. And if we do require a representative of the owner, as you know, because he is on the call also, as mentioned earlier, he is here with us and would be available to testify in the event an owner's representative is required. So if there is anything further, preliminarily, we can start with Mr. Evans being sworn.
At the moment,
May I ask a question?
sure.
Is there 5 commissioners present or 6?
We have 6 commissioners in attendance. I need this meeting to come to a halt for a moment, Ms. Amalinda, because they're trying to get Commissioner Barat on the line, then he will have 7.
How do you, okay, I count 5, so I don't know.
Count 5. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Barat would be 7. Or 6, and
Look
Barat.
at the screen.
Maggie, do me a favor, call me for a moment offline, mute your mic, call me.
Okay, thank you. Where's she getting that from? I don't get it.
You, Maggie, you didn't mute your mic.
Sorry. I'm still trying to figure it out. It's mom. No, hold on.
No, the screen shows just commissioners.
Hello?
And who's GT at BOA?
I think that's
The screen shows 6.
Okay, but who is GT at BOA, please?
that stands for the chairman.
For the chairman, there's another chairman there.
Here's what we'll do, we'll go through it again, we'll ask everybody to turn their cameras on so we can see everybody. And we'll figure it out in a moment.
Well, the 6 on the screen now, and Commissioner Baralt will be the second, I think, the public.
I need to discuss something with can we proceed for a moment, Chairman Thaxton?
Go ahead, Maggie.
Thank you. Commissioner White, I need this on the record. Are you recusing yourself from this application?
Yes.
Okay, then we're down to 5.
I'm sorry, you can't all talk, I can't hear. Commissioner White is recusing herself, so you are now down to 5, and with 6, it was Barat. So you will have 6 commissioners.
IT hooks him up.
Maggie, Commissioner Barlow is home. He has a family emergency, so he cannot join the meeting.
I would like to speak to him, please, if you don't mind.
Listen,
I understand, but
Can we stop for 1 second? Can we stop for 1
I'm
second?
gonna have to,
Hold on.
please.
Please stop for 1 second, everybody. Everybody mute the mic, let me speak to Mr. Rubin for a moment. Mr. Rubin, we have 5. We have a quorum. You could proceed. Your intention was to order transcripts anyway and come back for a vote if we had 6. So it doesn't matter if we have 5 or 6, it's just two commissioners reading as opposed to 1, if you're okay with that.
I agree with you.
Alright, so
But
then
I
let's
really want to move forward.
yeah, so let's just start.
Absolutely. Let's move it.
Go.
So if you're going to start, Mr.
Proceed with
Morocco.
5. We have a quorum. Commissioner White has recused herself. Commissioner, this is the only business for this evening. You're free to watch. You're also free to go home. But if you're
Any other refusals that make themselves known?
yeah, but so you want to place on the record?
Are there any other recusals?
Oh, any other recusals?
No. There are none.
Good, thank you.
So, Commissioner White, we're actually going to ask you though to log off since you're recused. 5, whenever everybody's ready, let's start.
Mr. Chairman, if we can, I would like Mr. Evans sworn by the reporter so we can move forward.
Melinda, are you ready?
Yes, please raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony about to tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
You please state your full name for the record.
And Matthew Evans, Architects, 470 Chamberlain Ave, Paterson, New Jersey, presently licensed in the state of New Jersey as a registered architect.
And I assume Mr. Evans' qualifications are allowed by the board, as he's been
Yes.
before many times.
You could start, Mr. Evans.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can. Let me see if it works here. Can you see it or see the document or no?
It was up, it's not up anymore.
Alright, here we go, I'm gonna have to show it over here. Okay, can you see it now?
I got it.
Mr. Evans, is this a, document that has heretofore been filed with the Board of Adjustment?
Yes,
So, there's no need to mark it, it is already, in evidence in this proceeding.
yes. So it's a 4-sheet submission, we have the first sheet, S1, we have show the existing conditions, the existing.
Mr. Evans, excuse me for interrupting, just give the latest revision date, because it was
Okay.
revised several times, and I just want to make sure everybody has got the right plan.
Okay. We have, the latest date is 9/20/28/21, based on the last, planning letter of 8/21/21. Let me just zoom in a little bit, it's hard to read that. Yeah, so, that would be after your, last rate, so it's 9/28 is the revision, and 8/21 was the planner letter we got.
Okay, did you ever get my letter dated 12/11/2021?
Yeah, this letter here, this is January 6th, and it's dated at the bottom December 11th. Yeah, so this is your last letter here, right?
Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
So, so that was based, let me see, we have, let me go through the plan. Going back to the existing conditions plan. So on S1, we have the, there was an existing multifamily, a 4-unit, towards the front of the property, with the yard in the back, which apparently has been since, removed. And what we're proposing is to put in its place, the 3-story, 9-unit apartment, as we show on our proposed site plan. We made the changes based on the last, planner review. We have our our site details for, the engineering department and, development, zoning ordinance data. Going to the second sheet, we have additional, site details and lighting details, and then we go to SK1, which is the, architectural floor plans. So the first floor, the ground floor plan, we have, to the left of the, building, we have, we have the, 2-way garage, which goes from front to back, and then we have 6 parking spaces, which, 3 are underneath the building and 3 in the rear. We have a bike storage area in the back, refuse and recycling, area for the units, and then we have an additional egress stair, shown on the back. The front, we have the apartment lobby, the stair 1, and then we have the handicapped studio unit on the first floor, as part of the first floor plan. So we have 1 studio apartment on the first floor, 6 parking spaces, refuse recycling, and bike rack. We have, additional buffer area in the rear, which would be, landscaped areas.
And just so it's very clear, that will be an ADA compliant apartment on the, first floor level.
Yes. And then we have, the second and third floor plan, which are identical. We have, 4 1-bedroom units on the, floor plan, and then what we have is unit 201 is a 1-bedroom at 737 square feet. So 600 is the minimum, so it's 137 square feet above. So we have a large bedroom, open living, dining, kitchen. And we have a laundry mechanical for each unit. And then we have a 1-bedroom, which is unit 202. That's 624 square feet. and that's to the right in, rear of the stair. And then unit 203, 303, we have 735 square feet, so we have a nice, one bedroom unit, on that, area. And then in the back, there's another additional one bedroom, which is 749 square feet, which, they all meet the minimum requirement of 600, and some are 700, close to 750 square feet. So that's the layout for the, second and third floor plan. And we have the roof plan, which we've added amenity space to the roof. We have our mechanicals on the roof, and then we have, getting to this, we have 1,330 square feet of, amenity space for the tenants, and then we have a rear egress for the, for the units in the back.
Just so that, the board knows and it is pointed out, the rooftop amenity is that a safe and compliant, space in that, there will be adequate railings and such, and that, it is going to be a safe place for people to, stay and do whatever on the rooftop area.
Yes, so it's all gonna be within code and, meet the requirements of the International Building Code, for, safety and other life safety issues, for that, floor. Going to sheet SK2 is basically the elevations. Sorry. We have the front elevation showing, the garage, the main entry, stair tower, and the front of the building, which is a mix of materials. I'll show a rendering of that. And then in the back, we have the rear elevation, and then we have parking underneath. We have the left side elevation, which shows, the egress windows and showing how the parking is configured underneath the building. And then, similar, we show the mechanical units hidden by the parapet wall, on the roof. So let me, see if I can share the rendering. Let me, try and give me a second here. See if we can see it. Can you see the rendering? I'm gonna have to move it, I think. Here we go. Okay.
There we go.
Can you see it?
I don't see it.
You don't see it. If I can get this thing to. Close this down. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. Not coming up. Can you see that?
Yeah, it's up.
Okay, good. So there's basically a rendering of how it would be in context on Pearl Street, showing the garage, the main entrance of the building. It's a 3-story structure. And we have a mix of materials, brick and stucco, landscaping in the front, and it would be all improvements for the proposed building.
Mr. Evans, we are in the 5th Ward redevelopment plan area, RA1 zone, and just to go through the planner's report as to what variances are needed and, why we can't adhere to the zoning, to the ordinance. We don't have a zoning ordinance as such, we have a redevelopment plan, which we have to adhere to, or ask for a variance. So we do know that we have various use variances, to in fact, and our professional planner, who will testify later on, will explain the rationale for those. The minimum lot area, 10,000 square feet is required, and we have 5,000. Is there any way to increase that?
No.
Minimum lot width, 100 foot required, 50 feet proposed. Is there any way to increase that?
No.
The minimum front setback is 20 feet, and we have both 3 feet and 4 feet proposed. There's a note that it is unclear which will it be, because eventually there has to be a resolution, and the resolution has to be clear.
Right, the setback would be 3 feet, consistent with, some of the setback, closer to the setbacks along the street and along with, some of the redevelopment requirements require 3 feet minimum. But, that would not be the case in this, but it would be more consistent with the neighborhood.
Well, we will get into the rationale, but I just wanted to lay out which items are required. The minimum rear setback, 25 feet is required, and we have 19 proposed.
Yes,
We need that. The minimum side setback is 15 feet, and 3.1 feet is proposed.
yes,
The minimum side setback for both is 30 feet, and we have 6.2 feet proposed.
yes.
There is an FAR requirement, and, Mr. Chairman, we have analyzed the Fifth Ward redevelopment plan, and nowhere can we find an FAR requirement, in the redevelopment plan, but we'll have our plan. There is a density requirement without question, and there are 9 units proposed, and apparently utilizing 38 units per acre, or are allowed, and you agree with those numbers, Mr. Evans?
Yes,
There are a parking requirement, and you already testified that 6 spaces are proposed for this application,
yes,
and 16 may be required. Maximum lot coverage is 25%, and you have 65.5% as a proposal. Is that correct?
yes,
Minimum open space, 1,800 square feet is required, and we have 1,330 square feet proposed. And there is a note that there may be an inconsistency. Is there an inconsistency in the 1,330 square feet?
well, I show the rooftop amenity space, so if we just, we have 1,330 square feet for, proposed for the, open space.
The inconsistency, Mr. Evans, is on your zoning chart, you say 1530.
Right.
You show 1330.
Yes,
So it should be 1,330, Gary.
That's one of the inconsistencies that has to be changed.
Correct. There's no parking 3 feet to the property line, and you have 1 foot for what is not listed.
right,
But it is correct that is 1 feet from the property line.
yes,
The dumpster side setback requires a 5 foot minimum, and you have a 2 foot. Is there any way to get it further on the, side setback?
let me go back to the site plan, or the floor plan. So we have it 2 feet, we could probably move it another foot, we need 5 feet.
Yes,
I don't think we're gonna get, we could push it closer to the, inside of the lot. another 3 feet and relocate that door, so it wouldn't be a problem.
And the last item would be dumpster being 10 feet from the main building, but that is right against the building. Is that the way you've designed, the dumpster area?
Yeah, it's just a small, basically a refuse recycling, fenced in area for the trash containers and recycling.
So that is correct where it's shown.
Correct.
Now, those are the items that are listed, and are there any other items that you find that are required in this application? Or that's it?
Yeah, that's what we have, yes.
And Mr. Evans, you and I have both looked at the document called the Fifth Ward Redevelopment Plan. And we have looked at this and looked at what the municipal council of the city of Paterson has approved, and looked at what the city wants in a redevelopment for this area. We have a number of variances here. Are we saying that this application cannot proceed in light of what the redevelopment plan is looking for with these variances? Do we have to have these variances approved by this land use board in order to achieve this new building?
Right, so what we're trying to achieve is trying to get a balance of parking, amenity space, and unit and apartments on the property. And I think it's been successful in doing that. The zone is the RA1 zone, but the property, the building that was there previous was a multifamily unit, and there was multifamily in the neighborhood. The planner would probably be able to address some of those characteristics in the future.
Well, just on the technical architectural features, are we in accord with the principles and the objectives of the Fifth Ward redevelopment plan?
Yes.
And is this building that you have designed in accord with, and will it be what the redevelopment plan is in fact looking for in this particular location?
Yes, this would be modern housing with large apartments, so they're oversized apartments. They have amenities within the apartments, so the additional size of the units is an amenity in itself. And also we have laundry for each apartment. We have also mechanical separate central air and heating for each of the units, so it would be all new energy efficient housing.
Thank you, and in your professional opinion, does this, even though this is new and there are a number of properties which are historically underserved or falling into disrepair or vacant, but is this going to fit into the neighborhood?
Yes, it fits in with the density, scale, and character of the multifamilies in the neighborhood.
Thank you. Those are the questions I would have of this witness, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, Gary.
Thank you, Chairman. Okay, Mr. Evans, first we're gonna start off with the zoning chart. There are, I had 6 variances that you didn't have listed, and then you have some that are listed that are not variances. So, let's go to the ones that you have listed first that are not variances. You have, you go to S1. You have, have the lot coverage, the lot building coverage, which is one of the requirements. You have impervious coverage, which is not a variance, and you have it as a variance because there is no impervious coverage.
Okay.
The bulk requirements for garden apartment do not have impervious coverage calculation. Also, the driveway width that is proposed is 24 feet. The requirement is 24 feet, you have it as a variance, so that's not a variance as well. So those two would have to be removed, and then the 6 that you didn't put on would have to be shown. The last 3 that Mr. Rubin alluded to, the no parking, 3 feet to the property line, the dumpster setback. Now, if it's going to be 5 feet, and you're going to relocate the door, obviously you have to do that. If not, then you have to list it as a variance. Either way, that's a revision.
Right.
Okay.
Also, the dumpster 10 feet to the main building, and that's not listed as well. We also have the density, which is not listed, the minimum side setback for both, which is not listed, and the floor area ratio, which is not listed. Now,
Well, that is just, Gary, we really must take exception. There is no floor area ratio requirement. I don't,
I'll explain that, Mr. Rubin.
I can't find it. It's not,
Let me explain it.
okay?
And you have your planner there to attest to that.
Well, it's a legal issue rather than anything else.
Okay, well,
This is something that council should be involved with.
okay, in the 5th Ward development, RA1 zone, you're only allowed 1 families and 2 families.
Correct. Which is a.
But now you're putting in a 9-unit building, which according to New Jersey case law and municipal land use law, if you want the use to be accepted, the bulk requirements are consumed in the application.
It's a D1.
There's case law on that, and I'm sure your planner knows it. It's one of them, the one that's used in every application that I'm in front of is Morello versus, North Brunswick or South Brunswick. Okay, so the point is, if you're not doing what's proposed, you have to use the bulk requirements on what you are proposing. And there is a floor area ratio bulk requirement for a garden apartment. And that's why
This
it's
is a garden apartment. This is far from a garden apartment. This
not
is,
a garden apartment, so.
and if there is a FAR requirement, you have to have a percentage. There is no percentage. You have to have a guide as to what you're looking for, and there is none. And
There is.
and
It's
you-
0.75 is the
Now,
floor
there
area.
is a D1 variance for density, without question. And I think that takes care of all of the issues of why we need a use variance. And the planner will testify as to whether we have a special reasons for a D1 variance. And I agree with that, and I think you mentioned that also, without question. But looking at an FAR, it just doesn't apply in this case.
Now you gotta let me talk, Mr. Rubin, without interrupting me. I let you speak, now let me speak,
Yes,
okay? And a multifamily is only 3 to 7 families. By definition, on the Paterson code, and if I have to point it out to the planner, I will. Anything more than 7 families and up to 3 stories is a garden apartment. Garden apartment has a floor area ratio as a bulk requirement. So therefore, a bulk area requirement and a D variance or floor area ratio is included in this application. Now, that being said, I'm sure he can address that, but I am 100% sure, based on case law and municipal land use law, that there is a bulk requirement for floor area ratio. And that is a D variance as well. And density is not a D1, but it's also a D variance. Now, still on to Mr. Evans' plan.
Yeah.
You have a 3-foot front setback. You have your building 73 feet 10 inches. And then you have 22.31 feet as a rear setback. And that does not add up to 100 feet.
You have,
You're missing almost a foot.
we have, hold on.
Go ahead, I'm gonna give you the rear setback is 2231. The building is 7383. And the front setback is 3. That's 99.14. Take out your calculators or your phone. The property is 100 feet, 86 hundredths of a foot, which is almost more than 10 inches incorrect. So that has to be revised.
Alright, so we would meet that, we would meet those, bulk requirements, based on, reducing that.
Okay, now, we're still on your plan, I'm gonna go to SK1. You have your dumpster area and your refuse area. And, there's no way to empty it out. If the parking spaces are contained and you're short on parking, so I'm gonna assume that they're gonna be filled, you can't get the dumpsters out. Now, I'm gonna make a suggestion, and, although it's usually not done by putting the handicap space further away, at least you would have that crosshatch area so that the dumpsters can be rolled out and emptied. So those back 2 spaces would have to be for the handicap space, only so that you don't lose your whole dumpster and the recycling area. Because you can't get it to the truck.
We can make that.
We gotta make that change as well. Okay, I did mention the change on your zoning chart with the open space. You have 200 square feet incorrect on your zoning chart as opposed to your. Yes, you gotta fix that as well. Okay, Mr. Chairman, let me reorganize my notes and go to the commissioners now for Mr. Evans. Thank you.
Any commissioners have questions of the architect?
Mr. Paxton, this is Commissioner Baralt. I'm able to join via video. I don't know. I've been notified, Madam Secretary Maggie, that I've been listening to the case from the beginning.
Great, thank you very much, sir.
Oh, okay, but I don't have a question for the presenter yet.
Any commissioner? Then, Mr. Rubin, you can. Is there anyone from the public
Oh, okay. Yeah,
interested in this case?
Introduce the public.
Marco, you have to get the number out again for the public. You might want to get the number out.
Yes. To any members of the public who are watching this meeting and are interested in asking the architect questions about his testimony, specific to his testimony, you'll have an opportunity at the end to give comments. If you have questions, please call 973-321-1579. When prompted to, you're gonna enter the meeting ID number, which is 711-680-001. Once again, call 973-321-1579. Meeting ID number 711-680-001. Let's give it a moment.
We have no callers at this time.
Mr. If we can move forward with our next witness with the understanding that if, Gary has any issues as, the board planner, if he, Mr. Evans is gonna still be here, because he can't go anywhere. We're together this evening, so we're joined at the hip. If, we can move forward with our planner.
Yeah, call your next witness, Mr. Rubin. Call your next witness.
Yes, so they're gonna be sworn, by the reporter.
Please raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Your full name, please?
My name is TJ Ricci, last name is spelled R-I-C-C-I.
Richie, could you please give us your background?
Absolutely. I'm a project manager at Stonefield Engineering and Design. Our office is headquartered at 92 Park Ave in Rutherford, New Jersey. I have a master's degree in city and regional planning from Rutgers University. I'm a licensed professional planner in the state of New Jersey. I'm also a member of the American Institute of Certified Planners. I've accepted by numerous boards throughout the state of New Jersey.
And your license is in good standing, this evening?
That is correct.
Absolutely. If we can, Mr. Chairman, allow.
We accept your credentials.
Thank you very much. We have before us an application in the Fifth Ward redevelopment plan, which you now know is part of this application. And you have heard of the various bulk and use variances that are required. Could you take us through the parameters of what is required in as far as the planning?
Yes, absolutely. And I think before I get into that, I would like to just share a short planning exhibit on my screen that kind of follows along with my testimony. Please confirm that you can see the screen.
I can see it.
Great. So what we have here.
I don't believe this was part of any exhibit that we had before, that was filed with the board.
Right, so we got to mark it.
You would have to, have this marked, and an original, I assume, Mr. Chairman, you would want the original, sent to the secretary in due course.
Yes, yes.
We'll mark it, we'll mark it as A1, and yeah, you'll submit a copy, so we'll have it for the file.
Okay, thank you.
Great. So this is a 4-page planning exhibit that basically shows the surrounding lots and the subject property with some aerial images and some zoning laid over the imagery. On sheet 1, we can see subject site right here as outlined in yellow, block 4208, lot 39. It's a single rectangular lot, just one lot. First thing that we notice, it's substantially larger than some of the the thinner surrounding lots. On the existing site, it was a multifamily. It has since been demolished as it stands today. And the surrounding area is, it's a mixture of residential uses. It's predominantly two-family with some single-family and multifamily uses mixed in. As we've, been discussing, the zoning is governed by the Fifth Ward redevelopment area, specifically the RA1 zone standards. Sheet 2, a little bit farther out, a little bit bigger scale, we kind of start to notice the proximity of the site and its relationship with some of the more commercial and mixed uses along East 18th Street, some more commercial and, church and grocery store uses along Rosa Parks Boulevard. Sheet 3, same scale, just the zoning overlay. We get to kind of see the context of where we're located in this neighborhood. You can see in yellow here the RA1 district. That's the district that we are located in. We're kind of centrally located between this C1 neighborhood business district. These are, existing uses. There's some grocery stores here. There's some pharmacies. There's doctor's offices and church uses over here. And then to the right, another half a block in the other direction along East 18th is the TOD, Transit-Oriented Development District, which is also in the redevelopment plan, which permits higher density, mixed uses, residential, commercial, retail, things of that nature. So, as we've been discussing, the proposal here is for a 3-story apartment building of 9 units, which is not permitted in the RA1 zone. The RA1 zone permits single-family and 2-family dwellings. Therefore, we are seeking a D1 use variance in addition to the D4 FAR variance and the D5 density variance. So before I get into the FAR and the density variances, I know there was some discussion on that before. I'd like to just go through, the use of an apartment building in this redevelopment area on this site. So I think that when looking at the site, we're going to flip back to the first sheet. When you look, the first thing that we notice, it is much larger than the surrounding properties. I think this is a suitable use for the proposal because, you wouldn't really want to put a single family home here and you have, kind of these large gaps. If you were to kind of comply with the setbacks and put a single family and put it back here, you'd kind of have this, jagged cutout. It wouldn't really contribute to this continuous streetscape. So you have a little bit wider building because it's a little bit wider lot, look close to the street. It's very in conformance. When Mr. Evans showed you before the architectural rendering, it looks like it fits in with the area because it's a development that's proportionate to the lot size. Secondly, I think that this lot is suitable for this use because it's proximity to these commercial districts. I think it's really an asset to have an apartment building of this style. It's a small-scale apartment building, but you got the number of units. You got the people that are walking to the transit-oriented development district, which has, your commercial uses, your shopping, your restaurant, your grocery store, as well as the, the neighborhood retail on the other side, on Rosa Parks. This is a general planning practice, is to locate slightly higher density towards a mixture of uses, towards those commercial uses, promotes that walkability in the neighborhood. So I think this is, it's a perfect location, it's a perfect site for this use. In addition to the D1 use variance, we are seeking density and FAR variances. I know that the FAR has been a little bit contentious. I think I do agree with what Gary's saying, is that they are essentially subsumed into the D1 use variance because we're really, I don't think that we are proposing a garden apartment. I read, substantially through the Paterson zoning ordinance. I do agree, it does say for garden apartments 8 units or more, but in my professional opinion, these standards more apply to your typical garden apartment complex where you have, larger buildings, many more buildings on very, very large pieces of land. There's a lot more open space. There's a lot more open land that's not developed on that lowers those density and those FAR requirements. When you look at our site, this is a very, although it is a single-family, 2-family zone, this is a very compact urban environment. So even though we are, requiring the FAR and the density variance, I don't think it's good planning practice to apply those standards to this use in this specific context because of the, the type of neighborhood that we're located in. So I really do think that, the site is suitable for this use. It can handle the, the slight increase in density in FAR and these D variances can be granted. And this project as a whole carries out some of the most fundamental purposes of the municipal land use law, which everyone, is probably well aware of. Purpose A, promotes public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. I mean, this project is providing, new housing units for the city of Paterson, high-quality housing units. It's improving the look of the streetscape. It's an infill development project that's essentially eliminating a vacant lot right now. I think it advances Purpose C, provides light and air and open space. Like Mr. Evans said, we are compliant with height. It meets those height requirements. It fits in with the massing of the neighborhood. It's not like it's, something that's going to shadow other buildings. So I do think we're providing, open air space. I do think we're providing open space too. There's that beautiful rooftop amenity space. There's a little bit of space in the back for, bicycle storage. So I think the intent is met of having, that outdoor area that, get people outside, people riding bikes, everything like that. And then Purpose I, promote a desirable visual environment. Like Mr. Evans showed the rendering before. It's, it's a very aesthetically pleasing building. It's a nice, refreshing upgrade to the vacant lot that's currently there. And I think, when you have these infill developments that are aesthetic and really attractive, piece by piece, you start to really improve the streetscape and the neighborhood as a whole. In addition to these D variances, there are a series of C variances that Mr. Paparazzi discussed before, and I'll go through briefly the justifications for each of them. With regards to the lot area and lot width, Mr. Evans, as he stated before, we're not able to combine parcels with the adjacent lots. It doesn't really make sense. It's already an oversized lot. We're proposing something that is proportionate with the lot that the applicant has. With regards to the setbacks, the front setback, the rear and the side, and the parking setbacks, the garden apartment requirement does require pretty substantial setbacks, but when you look at the zone and the existing development pattern of this neighborhood, we notice that, the side setbacks, the front setbacks, the rear setbacks, they're all very minimal. So what we're proposing here, despite not being in compliance with the requirements, is more in line with the land use patterns that are out there now, fits in better with the streetscape. If we were to, push this building backwards, it really wouldn't fit in because you kind of have this, you break this continuous building facade along the streetscape. With regards to the building coverage, this is just a result of this type of use on this lot in this area. I think this is more slated towards garden apartment complexes where you have fairly sized building mappings, but you also have a large amount of open space because they're complexes. We're not a complex. We really are an apartment building in a compact urban environment. With regards to the open space, like I said, we are deficient in open space. We do provide this, as Mr. Evans discussed, this great rooftop amenity area. That's something that a lot of tenants, a lot of renters are looking for. Bicycle storage. These are the things that really attract tenants. So while we're not providing, say, 1,800 square feet of just grass, I think we provide something better. And then with regards to the parking variance, that's one of the most important things. If we flip to sheet 3 on the exhibit, we notice the subject site, and I just want to talk about, like I talked about before, the proximity to the TOD and the neighborhood commercial district. This is really a good planning practice when you have an apartment building that's close to these commercial districts. It promotes walkability. It promotes getting people, out on the streetscape, walking to get their groceries, their pharmacy, their pickups at their pharmacies. Not every interaction that you have with your city every day requires a personal single occupancy vehicle. So not people that are looking to rent in these places usually know they might not get a parking spot, they might not own a car, and this becomes, perfect for them. Parking sometimes becomes self-policing. But I think the fact that we're located proximate to a TOD district as well as the neighborhood commercial district, people can do their daily shopping, their daily grocery shopping, everything that they need without having to own a vehicle. In addition, these blue dots that you see on the screen are NJ Transit bus lines. So bus stops are, within a couple minutes walk to the site to get, places, not in the immediate neighborhood. If we flip to sheet 4, we can see the site's location basically beginning at this yellow dotted line over here and the distance to the Paterson train station. It's a 12-minute walk. This is an NJ Transit station with direct access to Hoboken and Secaucus. And this is actually where the downtown, the real core downtown of Paterson begins. So, while we are in the single-family zone, I think there's multiple reasons where we can accommodate a relaxed parking standard. Because, like I said, we're located proximate to these areas that are more walkable. People can get their daily tasks needed. There's access to transit. Bus is right in the immediate area, and then a 12-minute walk. People have access to NJ Transit train where you can get a essentially all over the state. So, when you attract tenants, I think people are pretty open to having the walkable environment, access to transit, and less people then, feel the need to have a car in there, therefore have a space. So I think that, these bulk variances, these C variances, can be granted under the C2 benefits versus detriments criteria, which, in my professional opinion, the benefits of the project as a whole, which is, new housing, infill development, neighborhood improvement, these benefits outweigh any potential detriments. With regards to the negative criteria about any detriments to the public, I think you can grant these variances without substantial detriment to the public. The use is very compatible with the surrounding land use. It's residential, it's in scale, it's a similar size and massing as the existing buildings out there. It's not super tall, it's compliant with height. I think the project will help the area. With regards to the zoning ordinance and zone plan, I think it can be granted without, detriment to those as well. Like I said, the use is compatible, the height, it's compliant with height, it's very in scale with what's out there now. The Fifth Ward Redevelopment Plan has some simple goals and objectives, and one of them that I found interesting was identify larger properties or tracts of contiguous smaller properties that could provide opportunities for more substantial redevelopment projects. I think that this is one of those projects. You have a slightly bigger lot, it's double the size of the surrounding lots, and, it's more suitable for an apartment building. And these are the projects that, you develop and do serve as a catalyst for, upgrading this whole streetscape and this whole neighborhood. And then another goal is provide quality new housing options for residents. One of the biggest hurdles in Paterson, ever since I've been working in Paterson, is the quality of the housing stock. I think, 9 more high-quality housing units coming online is always a benefit to the residents and potential residents of Paterson. So I think that, the balancing provision of the C variances, as well as the positive and negative criteria of the D variances, I think it carries forth. I think that, this project warrants approval of the variances. It's, like I said, it's providing high-quality housing units for residents and potential residents. It's, an infill development project eliminating a vacancy, and it's improving, the look of the streetscape and the neighborhood. I think it fits in. I think it's appropriate with the site we're at and the neighborhood that we're located in. And, in my professional opinion, I think that all warrants approval. So that concludes my testimony. I'm here for questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there are any questions of the witness, Mr. Chairman?
Gary? Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, I'm gonna start off with, I know, Mr. Ricci, read the definition for garden apartment, which is 8 units and up to 3 stories, 8 units or more.
Right.
And multifamily is 3 to 7 units. That's multifamily. Now,
right.
If you want to go slightly higher on density, you can still do a multifamily, which I would not have a problem with, because it would reduce everything. Especially in the zone where you're only allowed 1 and 2 families, a multifamily like 5, 6, or 7 family would reduce all the bulk requirements. And just for the record, 3 and 4 family, 5 family, 6 family, 7 family, garden apartment, low rise, high density, all have floor area ratio numbers. So it's not because of a smaller apartment building that the floor area ratio is not consistent. If you're not building a 1 or 2 family house, floor area ratio comes in every scenario. So, and I know you addressed it, but I want to make that clear for the record that there is no question that floor area ratio is in fact on the table on this application. Now, there's a few things. There is a bus route which is a little over a block away where there's 1 stop, and that's on 16th Street, so a little over a block away. The train station is over 4 blocks away. So, I don't know if it's a 12-minute walk, but it is over 4 blocks away, and in inclement weather, you need to take that into consideration. Now, the neighborhood, the makeup of the neighborhood on this block, and I'm only on this block, is 25 lots. Out of those 25 lots, 22 of them are 25 feet, and 3 of them are 50. One is this application, one is another 50-foot lot, and one is a church. So the reason I bring that up is because 22 lots that have 25 feet have no parking. It's all street parking. When I went to make my inspection there, I had no parking. I couldn't park for my inspection, and that's one vehicle. The reason I bring it up is we're 10 spaces short. Now, RSIS does not only include the person who's in the apartment, it includes visitors and everybody else who goes to that site. So the 16 spaces, again, that is a big concern of mine, and I always defer that to the commissioners because they know the area better than I do. But if I go during the day and I can't park, I have to assume at night it's worse when people are home from visiting, shopping, and work. So you need to take that into consideration. Now, I agree with Mr. Ricci and the fact that it is suitable for a multifamily residential, okay? I'm not so sure a garden apartment, but a multifamily residential. I think, for example, a 7-family house, a side setback is only 4 feet as opposed to 15 feet. The floor area ratio goes from 0.75 to 1.2. The area, the lot area is reduced. Actually, the lot area is probably close. And all of the variances come down, and as well as the parking, which is a problem. So, you know, there are these issues that I agree with, you know, the redevelopment of the lot. And we also have to take into consideration, you have a 4-family house that's there. That 4-family house is probably 125 years old. And it was there before the 5th Ward development came in, and probably there before zoning requirements were involved. So it's hard to say, you know, that's there, so it's a basis. It was there before time. So it's really not comparing apples to apples. So I do agree the area residential obviously is perfect. And I do agree that I don't have an issue with more than 1 and 2 family. I have a little bit of an issue with 9 family because I think it's just pushing the envelope a little bit. You have to remember, you're asking for 3D variances and 15 total variances. Now, that application is considerable. By any means, it's considerable. So, you know, in a lot of towns, this application with 15 variances will not even warrant this much time. So, and I'm sure Mr. Ricci knows that. Everything has got to be taken into consideration. I agree with him on you know, providing more residential. I agree with him that it doesn't have to be a 1 and 2 family because it is one of the 3 oversized lots on the block. I just disagree with the number because your floor area ratio is more than 2 to 1. Your density is more than 2 to 1. Those are D variances. So, you know, I don't disagree with the concept. I just disagree with the overload a little bit. Okay, that's all I have, Chairman.
At this time, any commissioners have questions?
Commissioner Watkins. First I need to just ask the question, are the property sewer taxes, are they all paid up to date?
Yes, they are.
They are, Mr. Rubin provided proof of it.
Okay, thank you. they're short 10 parking spaces.
Yes, they are.
Okay, before you get on Pearl Street, on that block where they want to build, let me just say before I get into that, the project is beautiful. But that block where you want to build at, before you get on that block, it's East 18th Street. So there's no parking on East 18th Street before you even get on Pearl Street. If any of the commissioners that are here listening to this project and they know that area or they visited that site, they are aware that there's no parking on East 18th Street when you come into to Pearl Street on that same block where you want to build at. I visited there today, Anderson. On that same block, doors before you get to that project, there's a church. Directly across the street, there's a lot of cars. A lot of cars. Also on that same block, across from where you want to build, there are houses that have driveways. When you go down to the next block, the cross street, there's no parking spaces. When you go further down past that, there's no parking spaces. So is that project good? And should it be go forward short 10 parking spaces? It's not possible. There's no place to park additional cars. Now, right, everybody might not have cars to drive or want to walk, but they still have to depend on somebody to bring them home for groceries or move their furniture in. You're gonna have visitors, just like Gary said. You're still gonna need someplace to park those cars. And it's a one-way street. Nobody mentioned it's a one-way street. And it's not a wide street. So we have to be concerned as commissioners of the tenants that are there, the tenants that are gonna move there, and how it's gonna affect the neighborhood. I like the project, but is it the right project for that location? Thank you.
Chairman Daxton?
Any other? Yes.
No, you may proceed.
Yeah.
If there are no other commissioners that want to speak, perhaps to answer some of these questions about the neighborhood, we have Mr. Reed who.
Before we do that, Mr. Rubin, let me open it up to the public.
Sure.
This is Commissioner Fuhrman. I do have a couple of questions, and I'm sorry to interrupt. May I please proceed with questions?
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My question is, Rubin has been this flat abandoned.
I think our owner's representative would have to answer the question about the site itself, and he's ready to testify when chairman allows that.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I guess I'll wait for my question.
The question was to the applicant, Commissioner Fuhrman?
Yes.
Yes, that's fine. If the applicant might have an answer for me, I'll wait.
As soon as chairman allows it.
Chairman, can I open it to the public?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. The members of the public, if you have questions of this witness, again, now's not the time to give comments or statements, but if you have questions as to the testimony you just heard from this witness, please call 973-321-1579 and enter the meeting ID number of 711-680-001. Let's give it a moment to see if anybody calls.
We have no callers at this time.
So, Mr. Rubin, you can go
Yes,
to the next
Mr.
business.
Chairman, thank you. If I could bring up, Mr. Reed as a representative of the owner to answer the inquiry made by Commissioner a moment ago, if he could be sworn.
Raise your right hand. You swear affirm testimony about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Say your full name for the record.
Andy Reid, REID, Director of Development for JCM Investors.
Mr. Reed, you know the area, you know the site, and you know what we're trying to achieve in this application.
Yes, I do.
And could you tell us a little bit about the site itself, as the commissioner wanted to know what, maybe a little bit of the history?
Okay, first of all, the site was a vacant, abandoned, fire damaged, 4-unit, dwelling, that we have since taken down for, this proposed, development. It was an eyesore, and, vagrants were, breaking into it, so we decided, it'd be a more secure site if we were to, demolish that, existing structure. I just wanted to clarify a couple of things that the commissioner, Watkins, has said about the park on East 18th Street. I know several sections of East 18th Street don't allow parking, but on this section of East 18th Street between Paterson Street and 16th Ave, in which Pearl Street lies between, they allow parking, and they have parking on the west side of the street. On the east side of the street, there's no parking, and starting on 16th Ave, going south towards Market Street, there's parking on both sides of the street. That's where the street goes to a one-way, heading south towards Market Street. Also, Pearl Street is majority of it is not a very wide street, but when you come, like, it's a one-way traveling east towards East 18th Street, and when it gets towards East 18th Street, the street become very wide, and there's not too many residential houses on there. Actually, the big house there was the house that Mr. Trimmer had, and it was at the corner of East 18th and Pearl Street, and he never parked in there. He has a driveway there, and right past Deacon Crawford House. That's where it starts getting very large. I'm pretty sure Commissioner Watkins knows what I'm talking about. We're both familiar with that area. I did listen to the planner, Mr. Paterson, concerns, and I understand them. And I'm pretty sure, we have no problem going to maybe reducing down to the 7 unit that he probably feels would be more comfortable with for that type of development on that site. We have a lot of developments throughout the city of Paterson, and we know our tenants pretty well. And yes, people do have cars, they do have parking, but a lot of our tenants also use shared ride services. They bicycle, they walk. Like our planner, Ms. Street, said, this is near Dion Transit oriented district. So, one block past East 18th Street, Madison Ave, and you have Jersey Transit buses over there, Park Ave going east, going towards New York. You have the 161 ride through all there. You got New Jersey Transit rail station downtown, which is, like Ms. Street says, 10, 12-minute walk going down. So I do think this is it would be a great improvement for the site, a good infill, good improvement. Be removing blight. Our buildings are very secure. We remain even like a lot of times I know lately like Paterson had been having a problem collecting their trash, and a lot of people make comments like it's like our company's the only one where they pick up the trash. That's because we stay on top of our own trash. We have our buildings be well lit. We don't have like a spillage where it goes onto the neighboring properties. Our buildings have security cameras tied into the Paterson Police Department. We have our own armed security force that's in communication directly with the Paterson Police Department, so that we work, cooperatively with them and make we not only secure our properties, we even bring security to a lot of areas where our properties are at. So that being said, I believe this is a good project. I believe we can probably make some adjustments on the fly to reduce it down to probably 7 units like Mr. Prophecy was saying. And I think this would be a good project for that area. It'll be a good project for chance to live in a nice area, and even that area will have a nice residential building in their neighborhood. Thank you.
Andy, one point that wasn't raised, garbage collection, is that done by management?
Yes, we do. Listen, that's why we have a crew that goes around daily cleaning our properties. And we don't depend on the city for our trash removal. We have our private sanitation companies, well as our dump trucks are strictly by the DEP. We could collect our refuse and take to a dump site at our own expense.
Thank you. That would conclude those additional testimony, Mr. Chairman.
Gary, you have any questions?
No, Chairman, I do not. Just one quick correction. Mr. Reed called the area blighted, but he got rid of the blight.
Not here, that site was blighted, that's what I said.
Site anymore.
Yes.
He took it down, so it's really not blighted.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, what we would like to do is make the corrections on the plans, and as Mr. Reed has suggested, perhaps we will take a look at the density and reduce this. We have to see what we can do from an architectural viewpoint and resubmit a plan at a adjourned date for the application, see if that would be something that the board would entertain. We hear what is being said by the board members and by your planner, and we'll look at it and come back with something.
Mr. Rubin, just remind your professionals to email me that change, if any. Even if there's no change in the size, there needs to be a change with the relocation of the ADA space, the fixing of your numbers so that they match the 100 feet, the possible relocation of that door if you move the dumpster, listing all the variances and getting rid of the 2 variances that are not variances. So this would have to be done. If you're going to make a revision, that's fine. But I would need it like 10 days prior so I can at least have the report ready for the commissioners. Okay?
Sounds good. Great. That's what we would do.
Thank you.
Before we do any of that, Mr. Rubin, I think it probably makes sense to just open up the to the public if you have any questions as to the site now, since you have an applicant.
Absolutely.
All right. So, Mr. Chairman, if I could do that?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Members of the public, if you have any questions of the applicant, please call 973-321-1579. Enter meeting ID number 711-680-001. Again, this will be your opportunity to ask the applicant questions about the site and his testimony. 973-321-1579. Meeting ID number 711-680-001. Let's give it a moment.
We have no callers at this time.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Yeah, we would like the opportunity, to come back. Could I ask, the secretary to the board, did we wind up with 7 full members, as we were going along? Because I know one member came in late.
We have 6 commissioners, present this evening.
So there were 6.
6.
Okay,
Yeah, with the side, Mr. Rubin, one recused herself.
right, we had a recusal. And you do have several alternates who aren't here.
Yeah, you do have, Commissioner Minaudo and Commissioner Vega. So you'll need a transcript for them.
That'll be fine. I just wanted to know, who we had and what we needed.
Okay.
And I know this is difficult, but I don't want to send out over 100 notices again, but we need a target date.
Are we going, Mr. LaRocca, are we going, or Mr. Paparazzi, with, a lot of testimony left?
No,
Because that would depend on if they would want a special or a regular. I could put them on a regular, but the date would be March 10th.
I don't suspect much testimony. If there is a reduction, then obviously I'll just give the numbers to the reduction. If not, testimonies are already been given. So it'd only be the closing argument from, closing statement rather from, Mr. Rubin and myself.
yeah, I agree with Gary. It'll be short. There'd be no real lengthy testimony, just to show what the difference is and what we're coming up with. Yeah. And we'll give this in advance to your planner so he knows exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, I understand. I just, I'm gonna have to call Marco LaRocca. Give me a moment, please. Okay, Mr. Rubin, and Mr. Andy Reid, we can carry this matter to February 24th, 2022.
I'm not available on that date.
Okay. March 10th,
Yes.
March 10th, 2022, at 7:30 p.m. The application of JCM Investors 1012 LLC, 175 177 Pearl Street, has been carried.
As far as you know, are you still gonna be remote in March? As far as,
We don't know, but council, your statutory time requirements are waived through March 10th.
of course.
Okay, and to the members of the public, you've heard the secretary place on the record, the carry date for this application is March 10th at 7:30 p.m. There will be no further notice mailed to you. The applicant has no obligation to mail you notice again. That is your notice of the date, March 10th at 7:30 p.m.
One last thing, I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but I assume the recorder can get us the transcripts within time prior to that date.
Probably get you by tomorrow if you pay for expedited.
I don't wanna push it.
Andy will get in touch with me.
Okay.
Thank you, Grandma Linda.
I hate putting anyone on the spot, but we will need it. All right, thank you all very much, thank you.
Chairman Thaxton,
Yes,
close this meeting, sir.
meeting adjourned.
I think Marco missed.
Yeah, commissioners, stay on for a moment, we'll close the meeting, and Ryan, we could shut down.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
That's true, yeah, Mr. Evans.
Good night.
Good night,
Let
Andy.
me make sure we're clear first, please.
You have to have Ryan close it off to everybody but the commissioners and the professionals.
Working on that right now.
Okay, okay.
So I'm closing this out.
Give them a moment to close out the cable session. One moment, please.
Mm.